Welcome to online session number 22 on solidification by S.B. Patil, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department of Jaywantrao Sawant College of Engineering, Pune. So the course outcome number 3 is discuss the equilibrium diagram by understanding the basic concepts of metallurgy and apply the knowledge of iron carbon alloy system and its applications. So unit number 3 is a phase diagrams and iron carbon diagram. So in this unit number 3, part 2, we are going to study is solidification process, then the nucleation and the crystal growth, then solidification of pure metals, solidification of alloys. So before that, let us see the kinetics of the phase transformation. Okay, the kinetics of phase transformation means how fast the phase is going to transform. So what exactly the phase is? So phase is homogeneous, physically distinct, mechanically separable part of the system. So with this phase transformation, normally at least one new phase is formed that has a different physical or chemical characteristics and or a different structure from the parent phase. Furthermore, most phase transformations do not occur instantaneously. Okay, so rather they begin by formation of numerous small particles of the new phases which increase in size until the transformation has reached the completion. Okay, the progress nucleation of phase transformation may broken into two distinct stages. One is the nucleation and second is the growth. So let us see one by one. Nucleation. The nucleation involves appearance of very small particles, or we call it as a nuclei of the new phase, okay, often consisting of only a few hundred atoms which are capable of growing, and during the growth stage these nuclei increase in size which results in the disappearance of some or all of the parent phase. Okay, so the transformation reaches completion if the growth of these new phase particles is allowed to proceed until equilibrium fraction is attained. So there are two types of nucleations. One is the homogeneous nucleation, other is the heterogeneous nucleation. So in homogeneous nucleation, the nuclei of the new phase form uniformly throughout the parent phase. Okay, that is the parent phase or the new phase are homogeneous to each other. And heterogeneous means the nuclei form preferentially at structural inhomogeneities such as container surfaces, insoluble impurities, grain boundaries, dislocations, and so on. Let us see the concept of free energy. So in the unit 1 we have studied the different point defects. So one of the point defect is the vacancy. Okay, so if the atom is missing from its regular site, we call it as a vacancy defect, and that vacancy creates an energy for the solidification processes, and that energy is called as the Gibbs free energy. Okay, now this Gibbs free energy is a function of two thermodynamic properties. One is the enthalpy, other is the entropy. Okay, so enthalpy is the internal energy of the system, while entropy is a measurement of the randomness or disorder of the atoms or molecules. Okay, however, relative to this phase transformation, an important thermodynamic parameter is the change in the free energy. Okay, and that change in free energy is noted as delta G. Okay, so when the delta G has the negative value, remember this, when delta G has negative value, the transformation will occur spontaneously. Now see this figure. Figure shows the schematic diagram showing the nucleation of a spherical solid particle in a liquid. Okay, so as we are doing solidification, means we are converting this liquid into this solid. Okay, and this atom is considered as a sphere. Okay, so we always consider atom as a sphere, and we know the volume of sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube and the area of sphere is 4 pi r square. Now as we consider this atom as a sphere, its volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube, area is 4 pi r square, and this liquid is transforming into this solid atom. Okay, so as the temperature is decreasing, so there are two kinds of contribution of the energy. One energy is due to this volume of this particular atom. One energy is due to this volume of this particular atom, and one energy is due to its surface. Okay, so there are two kinds of energies. One energy is due to this volume and one energy is due to this solid liquid interface. Okay, so for the sake of simplicity, let us first consider the solidification of a pure material, assuming that nuclei of the solid phase form in the interior of the liquid as atom cluster together so as to form packing arrangement similar to that found in the solid phase. Okay, so there are two contributions to the total free energy change that accompany a solidification transformation. So these two contributions to the total free energy change that accompany a solidification transformation are: one is the volume free energy and other is the surface free energy. So let us see what exactly the volume free energy is. So volume free energy is the energy difference between solid and liquid phase, and its magnitude of contribution is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Okay, that is the volume into the delta GV. Okay, and its value will be negative if the temperature is below the equilibrium solidification temperature. Okay, so here as the liquid is transforming into the solid, okay, that molten metal is transforming into the solid form, so as their temperature is reducing, okay, and therefore the volume free energy delta GV is having the negative value. Okay, now the surface free energy. The surface free energy is energy required to form solid liquid phase boundary during the solidification transformation, and its magnitude of contribution is 4 pi r square into gamma, where gamma is the surface free energy. So total there are two kinds of the transformation when the liquid is transforming into the solid, okay, or molten metal transforming into the solid metal, okay, and we consider the atoms are as a sphere. Okay, so volume of that sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube, and the area of that sphere is the, or the surface area of that sphere is 4 pi r square. Okay, and as liquid is transforming into the solid, as temperature is reducing, or as we are seeing the solidification of the metal, okay, as the temperature is decreasing from liquid to solid, okay, so the volume free energy is a negative value and the surface free energy is the positive value. Next point is the critical size of the nucleus. So here the total free energy is calculated as the equation of total free energy. The equation of total free energy is that delta G is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube delta GV, which is on negative side, okay, So here it is taken the mod, but you can take here as the negative side. So 4 by 3 pi r cube delta GV, that is the negative value, plus 4 pi r square gamma, that is the surface free energy. So see this figure now. So this is the free energy on this y axis. Here it is a positive free energy value, negative free energy value. This is the curve for volume free energy, that is the negative free energy, that is minus 4 by 3 pi r cube delta GV. Okay, and here this is the surface free energy, that is the positive free energy, that is the 4 pi r square gamma, and this one is the total free energy, which is shown as a delta GV or delta G. Okay, also you can see here the two different points. One point here is the R star. So this R star is nothing but the critical radius of that atom, and delta G star is the critical free energy, or you can say the critical total free energy. So we have this equation now, that delta G is equal to minus 4 by 3 pi r cube delta GV. I call it as a minus as it is a volume free energy, plus 4 pi r square, plus because it is this surface free energy. Okay, so the first term in this equation is energy release by volume of solidifying phase, or it is called as the volume free energy. Okay, so as we are discussing here the solidification, okay, as that is the conversion of molten metal in liquid state to the metal in the solid state. Okay, so as it is transferring from liquid to solid, the energy is released by its volume. Okay, and therefore energy released by volume of that solidifying phase is nothing but the volume free energy, and as energy is released is always negative. Okay, but the second term, that is energy needed or required to create the interface or surface energy. Okay, so whatever energy is released by the volume is taken by the energy needed to create the interface or surface free energy. Okay, and that surface free energy will be positive for any phase transformation under the consideration. Okay, so at any small value of r, the delta GV is less than gamma, and at large value of r is the radius. Okay, delta GV is greater than gamma. Okay, so the sum delta G goes through a maximum at some critical radius r star, whose value can be calculated as r star is equal to 2 gamma minus 2 gamma upon delta GV. So r star is equal to minus 2 gamma upon delta GV, and the corresponding value of delta G is delta G star is equal to minus 16 pi r cube upon 3 into delta GV square. Now let us see the solidification of pure metal, the concept of solidification of the pure metal. So now see here is in this diagram the concept of solidification of pure metal. Let us see this first figure, time temperature curve for solidification of pure metal. So you can see on the x-axis there is a time, on y-axis there is a temperature. Okay, and you can see the different points here, that this is the point A, point B, point C. Let's define this point as a D point and this point as a E point. Okay, so we have point A, B, C. This is the D point and this one is the E point. Okay, so above the point A, the metal is in liquid state. So this is the liquid metal. So we all have only the liquid. Okay, and how we get that liquid metal? As we increase the temperature. Okay, so by increasing the temperature we melt the metal and it is now in the liquid state. Okay, so as soon as this liquid metal, okay, as soon as this liquid metal comes to the point A, okay, again I repeat, as soon as this liquid metal solidifies up to the point A, what is the point A is nothing but the freezing point, or this point is also called as the undercooling point. Okay, so again I repeat, as soon as the liquid solidifies up to the undercooling point, the nucleation starts. So remember this sentence, as soon as the liquid metal undergoes to the freezing point, or you can say the undercooling point, here at point A the nucleation starts. So what exactly happened at point A is the number of nuclei is less and the size of nuclei is more. Okay, it means at point A we are getting the bigger size nuclei but small in the number. Okay, and when we go to the point C, that is when undercooling ends. See here, when we go to the point C, that is when undercooling ends, what happens? The size of nuclei is reduced. Size of nuclei is reduced and the number of nuclei are more. It means at point A, what is the point A? Point A is nothing but the freezing point. Okay, so as soon as the hot liquid or the liquid metal which is melted or which is at higher temperature, okay, it comes to the freezing point or the undercooling point, that is at point A, the nucleation starts. Okay, and initially at the start of nucleation the size of nuclei is more and the number of nuclei are less. Okay, and as soon as this nucleation completes at point C, as soon as nucleation completes at point C, or as soon as undercooling completes at point C, the number of nuclei are more but less in the size. Okay, so therefore what happens at point C is we are getting the more number of nuclei in small radius size. Okay, now let us see what happens from C to D, and this point is E point. Okay, so let us see what happens from C to D. Okay, so what we have at point C is more number of nuclei and in a small size. Okay, so the small size nuclei easily transform into the solid. So from C to D, what happens? The liquid is transforming here into the solid. So here you can see the liquid as well as this solid particles. Okay, again see carefully. At from point C to D, the liquid transformed to this solid. Okay, now let us see this CD line. So what is increasing from C to D is time. Okay, so we can make a statement that there is a phase transformation from liquid to solid from point C to point D when we give the sufficient time to it. Okay, so we need to give the sufficient time for the transformation from liquid state to solid state. Okay, and this particular transformation from liquid to solid occurs at constant temperature. So here temperature is constant. Okay, so again we can make a statement that the phase transformation occurs. Again I repeat, remember this sentence: the phase transformation occurs only at constant temperature when we provide sufficient time to it. Okay, so we need to provide this sufficient temperature, keep that temperature constant, and we need to give some time at that particular temperature so that the molten metal converts into the solid. Okay, so we can say, or you can make a one statement that growth occurs only at the constant temperature, or transformation occurs only at the constant temperature when you provide sufficient time for it to get it transformed. Okay, now this is point D, this is point C, this is point D. Okay, so what happens at point C? What happens at point C, that the first trace of the liquid nuclei tries to transform into the solid form. Okay, so first trace, TRAC, first trace of nuclei of liquid tries to transform into solid. And what happens at D? The last trace of liquid tries to transform into the solid. Okay, so here transformation starts, here transformation ends. For this transformation we require sufficient time and we require the constant temperature. Okay, and here you get this kind of solid structure. Okay, and at this room temperature you will get this particular solid material. So let us just revise this, that initially it is in liquid state. So when the liquid metal comes under undercooling, okay, or undercooling is provided, what happens? The nucleation starts. Initially at point A, the number of nuclei are less but in bigger size. Okay, and as it goes further, or as undercooling completes at point say C, what happens at point C is the size of the nuclei is less and with the more number of nuclei. Okay, and from C to D there is a phase transformation from liquid to solid at constant temperature for sufficient time. Okay, and from D to E you get this kind of solid metal. Now moving to this another figure, the variation of rate nucleation N and rate of growth G with the temperature. So as undercooling exceeds, the growth decreases. Okay, but the number of nuclei increases up to certain limit, and more if you provide more undercooling, then again it is going to decrease. Okay, and similarly opposite to this temperature. Next is the concept of supercooling or superheating. So when the phase transformation are induced by temperature changes, the equilibrium conditions are maintained only if heating or cooling carried at extremely slow or unpractical rates. Okay, for other than equilibrium cooling, so if it is not an equilibrium cooling or non-equilibrium cooling, the transformations are shifted to lower temperatures than indicated by the phase diagram. Okay, now remember phase diagram, the another name for the phase diagram is the equilibrium diagram. Okay, means whatever temperatures, time, whatever phases we are going to plot is at the, or by assuming the equilibrium conditions. Okay, but practically it may not be equilibrium, it may be non-equilibrium. Okay, and therefore for other than this equilibrium cooling or not for non-equilibrium cooling, this transformation shifted to lower temperatures than indicated by the phase diagrams. For example, for heating, the shift is toward the higher temperatures. Okay, and this phenomenon is termed supercooling and superheating respectively. Okay, so degree of each depends on the rate of the temperature change. More rapid the cooling or heating, greater the supercooling or superheating. For example, the normal cooling rates, the iron carbon eutectoid reaction is typically displaced 10 to 20 degree below the equilibrium transformation temperature. Okay, so this we are going to see iron carbon diagram or the eutectoid reaction in the iron carbon diagram in the next sessions. Okay, now let us see the definitions. Supercooling, so cooling to below a phase transition temperature without occurrence of the transformation is called as the supercooling, and superheating, heating to above a phase transition temperature without occurrence of the transformation. Okay, so what exactly the phase transition temperature is? The temperature at which phase is going to transform, that temperature is called as phase transition temperature. If it is cooled below phase transition temperature, it is supercooling, or if we heat above phase transition temperature without occurrence of transformation, it is called as the superheating. Thank you.